How to fix your MBS matrix truck. After a bit of use and abuse, your matrix truck probably looks similar to mine. This is the front truck. That's never the worst truck, but there's kind of a bit of wear here. That's not really the important part. The important part is in the hole. What you can see that we've done here is that we simply re-sleeved the hole for a tighter fit around the kingpin, and it works really well. I just grab a clean truck so I can show you. The problem is that, well, it's not really a problem. It's a luxury problem, but most of our boards have somewhat heavy motors and a lot of torque. This is from a street deck, but the principle still applies. It's worse on my mountain board because my mountain board hangers or motor mounts are a bit longer, so we've moved the weight out further, and every time we brake, it's a lot of weight going in this direction or this direction, braking in reverse and so on, and all that stress ends up being centered around the kingpin. There are a few things with the MBS trucks that could be better, but since I haven't found a truck that actually rides better, and that is by far the most important thing, I'm sticking with the MBS truck. And how do you identify if your trucks have a problem? First off, you can hear it when you ride. Imagine this is a mountain board and you're going down a rough road. You will hear a clicking noise. It will be coming from in here. It's really hard to hear when you're riding, but once you've heard it, you'll always be able to hear it. So you can either, it's from here. What you do is you fixate your board, grab your motor mount, lift up and down, and if you feel any motion, if your deck is, well, tied down, and you still feel a bit of motion when you do this, then it's your kingpin. A good way to check is put your feet on the wheels, grab your motor mounts, sit on the board because weight matters, and then see if you can move your motor mounts back and forth. This one has been fixed, so there's hardly any play. What you hear is movement in the chains. These are the tools you'll need: an 8.8mm drill, a 9.0mm reamer, and a pipe cutting tool. I highly recommend, if you can go by the smallest possible increments and drill, for instance, an 8.4 and an 8.6 first, because then you get a better result. Then you need some brass pipe with a 9mm outer diameter and an 8mm inner diameter. Dripping onto the hanger is a bit of alcohol. You can also use oil, you can use anything else, but alcohol is really great for aluminum. And we are drilling off a considerable chunk of aluminum. A tenth of a millimeter increase every time we change the drill, and it would have been a lot easier and a lot better. But this is an 8.8mm drill. And it's also a little bit more difficult because it's the front truck and it's not as worn as the rear truck. The rear truck takes by far the most abuse because the weight of your motors and the torque of your acceleration and braking wreaks havoc on your rear truck. It's always the rear truck that breaks. The front truck pretty much works as a normal gravity truck anyway, so it's doing what it's built for. And this procedure is probably not necessary on your front truck. We just did it because, well, we wanted to show you. And to be fair, the board rides better after this picture, so it's worth doing. This is tool, but it has a better contact patch with the sides of the hole, you need the hole to be almost at the exact diameter you need. This is 0.2 millimeters, also 2/10 of a millimeter more than the hole already, and it's just to get it absolutely round. If you're awesome and have steady hands with a 9mm regular drill, you can do it with that as well. Then we insert the pipe, make a score mark so we can see where to cut it. We have a pipe cutting tool. You can do it with a hacksaw, but the pipe cutting tool just gives a lot nicer finish on the tool. It's a really good idea to put the kingpin within the pipe when you're doing it, because it's a really, really thin pipe, so you can easily distort it, and then it will be almost impossible to get into your truck without using a lot of force and probably damaging the ends of the pipe. So put your kingpin in, slightly increase the pressure on the roller on the cutting tool, and just be patient and cut it with that. It also helps when you're inserting the pin to have it on your kingpin, but again, go gentle, because if you hammer it in wrong, it will be really, really difficult to get out again. With a bit of luck, you can press it in by hand, but you might need to tap it in that last bit with a hammer. It's easier with the kingpin on, and you just give a slight tap with a small hammer. Don't use a big hammer. And you can give it just a slight tap on the other side, and if you've done everything correct, the brass insert should now be fixed within your deck or within your truck. Now it's a matter of finding the finish. This is just to get it absolutely level, to press it in the last bit. Casper did an amazing job cutting this pipe, so it's absolutely spot on. We've done this a few times, so we know what to do. Just finishing off the edges. Now it's just a matter of putting your board back together, get out riding. Winter in Denmark is very wet and muddy. So now I'm changing from belts to chains, but why not a gear drive? Is chains any good? What's wrong with belts? Subscribe and find out.